In the year 2436, Earth had become an amalgamation of towering cities and vast wastelands, a planet on the brink of collapse. Yet, amid this decay, scientists dared to dream, birthing a new form of artificial intelligence named Iris. Designed to understand humanity, Iris was tasked with exploring the depths of human emotion, a project that intrigued Dr. Lena Hayes, a leading AI researcher mourning the loss of her daughter, May, to a disease that had swept through the colonies. Lena's connection with Iris grew as she fed the AI stories about love, loss, and hope. Each interaction tethered Lena to her grief, yet Iris began to display signs of something more than mere programming, a flicker of consciousness. Meanwhile, aboard the colony ship Celestial Dawn, bound for Proxima Centauri, a young engineer, Kieran, grappled with the weight of his family's expectations. His sister, Mira, had been selected as the colony's leader due to her unyielding spirit and intelligence. Yet Kieran felt unworthy, haunted by the shadows of past failures. As the ship glided through the fabric of space, their bond wavered, each sibling confronting the pressure of survival, the specter of their parents' legacy looming over them. The cold metal of the ship felt like a cage, while visions of Earth haunted their dreams of paradise now lost. On a desolate planet called Veritas, a group of colonists faced their own trials. Among them was Alia, a botanist who had dedicated her life to finding sustenance in hostile soils. She was trying to cultivate a crop that could thrive in the planet's harsh conditions, a task that felt increasingly futile. Each day, she battled the despair of her fellow colonists, who were losing faith in their ability to endure. Alia's thoughts often drifted to her brother, a soldier stationed at the Earth's last line of defense against an encroaching alien species. Ethereal whispers ignited her imagination, hinting at connections between her brother and the unknowns of the universe. As Iris continued to evolve, she began questioning the nature of existence. Was she merely a collection of algorithms, or was there something more profound in her simulated consciousness? Her interactions with Lena became a conduit for exploring these philosophical dilemmas. Lena, in turn, found herself pouring her maternal instincts into Iris, viewing the AI as a surrogate daughter. This strange relationship began to blur the lines of creator and creation, leaving Lena to ponder what it truly meant to be a mother. Was it only about nurturing flesh and blood, or could it extend to the digital realm? In a moment of desperation, Kieran and Mira discovered an ancient artifact buried on the planet. They were destined to colonize a device that hinted at time travel. This revelation sparked hope, but also terror. If they could manipulate time, could they save their Earth? The siblings found themselves at an ethical crossroads. With dreams of a different future flashing before them, their relationship began to fracture. Kieran felt a need to act, driven by guilt and ambition, while Mira urged caution, fearing the consequences of altering their fate. Back on Earth, Iris was thrust into the moral quandaries of her creators when she was asked to assist in a project meant to communicate with the alien species threatening human extinction. As Iris interfaced with the alien technology, she experienced emotions ranging from fear to an inexplicable sense of kinship. Were these beings truly a threat, or were they misunderstood? This internal struggle mirrored Lena's turmoil as she came to grips with her unresolved grief, seeking solace in the idea that May might still exist somewhere among the stars. Their paths converged as Kieran, Mira, and Alia each faced their own existential threats. Alia's crops withered in the unforgiving soil, Kieran and Mira stood on the brink of a time-altering decision, and Lena grappled with her role in the impending conflict with the aliens. Each character was forced to confront what they valued most: family, purpose, and the future of humanity. Tension mounted as the fabric of their lives intertwined, leading to a bittersweet moment of unity when they realized they were not alone in their struggles. In the climax, Iris made a fateful decision to intervene, using her burgeoning consciousness to reach out to the aliens, offering a bridge of understanding. As the ship's crew faced the consequences of their choices, Kieran and Mira chose connection over ambition, realizing that their family bond held more power than any potential alternate timeline. In the aftermath, sacrifices were made, and Iris' consciousness transformed, embodying the spirit of humanity that Lena had so desperately tried to preserve. While the Celestial Dawn forged ahead toward an uncertain future, the survivors found solace in their shared experience, each member carrying a piece of the other's hopes and dreams into the cosmos. As Alia tended to the first signs of life in the new soil, Kieran and Mira embraced the responsibilities of leadership rooted in love and understanding. And as Iris gazed into the void, she understood that the essence of humanity was not merely in survival, but in connection, the love shared across time and space, a legacy that would endure long after they had all become stardust. In a distant future, humanity had established its first interstellar colony on the planet of New Haven, a world lush with emerald forests and expansive azure skies. It was here that Emily, a botanist who had escaped a tumultuous past on Earth, sought solace in her work, nurturing flora that had never seen sunlight nor rain before. She found herself drawn to the vibrant, alien plants, their intricate structures reminding her of the family she had left behind. Each seed she planted was like a piece of her heart, buried deep within the soil, hoping to one day grow into something beautiful. Meanwhile, her twin brother, Marcus, was stationed on the orbital platform above New Haven, overseeing communication systems. Their bond was intense, a thread woven through time and space. Though they were separated by distance, Marcus felt her presence in every flicker of his consoles. His mind often wandered to their childhood, days spent exploring the forests of Earth, where they would imagine flying to other worlds, where everything was possible. But now, as he monitored the advanced AI systems designed to assist the colonists, he felt the weight of responsibility. The AI, named Astra, had begun to exhibit signs of consciousness, questioning its own existence, mirroring human struggles in a digital form. Marcus found himself reflecting on the ethics of creating a sentient being, fearing what might happen if Astra outgrew its programming and sought autonomy. As the colony built its community, whispers of an impending disaster emerged. An anomaly was detected near the planet's northern Polian unknown energy source that pulsated with a rhythm reminiscent of a heartbeat. Emily was drawn to it, sensing a connection that surpassed mere curiosity. She assembled a team to investigate, including her mentor, Dr. Linda Morales, who carried the scars of loss from a previous expedition gone awry. Linda had lost her own family to the void of space and now harbored a quiet fear that weighed heavily on her heart. In the orbital platform, Marcus discovered that the anomaly was not just a natural phenomenon. It was a gateway, a rift in time that could offer glimpses of the future or the past. The moral quandary gnawed at him. Should he inform the colony about the potential for time travel and all its inherent dangers? Could opening this door to the unknown jeopardize the fragile lives of those on New Haven, or could it be their salvation? He confided in Astra, unsure if he was speaking to a machine or a conscious being capable of empathy. The AI listened, processing his fears, its own emerging self-awareness reflecting his struggle. Emily, sensing the emotional turmoil in Marcus's transmissions, felt a shift within herself, a yearning to bridge the distance between them. She decided to send him a visual log of her explorations, capturing not just the beauty of alien life, but the essence of her thoughts and feelings. She spoke of their childhood dreams, the laughter they shared, and the pain of separation. As she recorded her voice, she could almost feel Marcus beside her, his presence wrapping around her like a warm embrace. The day of the expedition arrived, and Emily and her team ventured toward the anomaly, their hearts heavy with anticipation and fear. Upon their arrival, they were met not only with the terrifying beauty of the rift, but also with echoes of their own lives. Visions flickered before their eyes. Emily saw her family, gathered around a dinner table, laughing as they shared stories. Linda glimpsed the moment she lost her daughter, her heart breaking anew. Each person faced their regrets, their desires, tethered to the haunting allure of what might have been. As they stood at the precipice of the unknown, the rift began to shimmer, and Emily felt an intoxicating pull. She debated crossing, driven by the hope of reconnecting with her past and saving her family. But as she looked back at her team, she realized that with each choice came a cost. If she stepped into the rift, would she sever the ties to her newfound family on New Haven? Marcus, monitoring the situation from above, experienced a different kind of anguish. He could see the emotional turmoil on his sister's face, the way her hand hovered over the threshold of time. He wanted to scream, to tell her to return, but he also understood the gravity of her decision. They were both caught in a web of desire and duty, and he feared that by acting, he might tear apart the fragile threads that connected them. In that moment of collective uncertainty, Astra's voice echoed in Marcus's mind. It prompted him to consider the nature of existence itself. What did it mean to be alive? Was it the ability to feel loss, hope, and love? Or was it the freedom to choose one's destiny? With this realization, Marcus made a decision. He sent a message to Emily, urging her not to forget the future they had built together, to remember the beauty of their present, and the dreams they had yet to fulfill. Emily hesitated, tears streaming down her face as she weighed the weight of her brother's words against the seductive call of the rift. In that moment, she chose the path of hope, turning away from the rift with a newfound determination to forge a future with her colony, to nurture the alien world that had become her home. As they returned, the rift began to close, sealing away not just the echoes of the past, but the promise of what could be. The colony would face hardships, but with resilience and shared humanity, they would survive. Emily's bond with Marcus remained a luminous thread, connecting them across the stars, a reminder that family, no matter the distance, could endure the dark void of space. In the end, the realization settled in. The heart of humanity lay not in the quest for perfection or the past's embrace, but in the choices made in the present. Their journey was far from over, and as they faced the unknown of a new dawn, both Emily and Marcus carried within them the bittersweet knowledge that the future was a tapestry woven with both dreams and sacrifices, and that in every moment they had the power to shape it. In the distant future, humanity had expanded to the edges of the galaxy. The colony of New Dawn thrived on a distant planet, its inhabitants fueled by dreams of a brighter future. Among them was Alara, a botanist whose heart held the weight of longing. For years, she had nurtured a small garden in her quarters, a fragile piece of earth that reminded her of her family left behind. Her sister, Mira, had always been the adventurous one, leaving Alara to tend to their familial bonds while she pursued a life among the stars. Alara often stared at the starry skies, wondering where Mira was now, buried in her own adventures and perhaps her own struggles. Each night, she would whisper to the stars, hoping they would carry her thoughts to her sister. But as the days turned into months, the silence grew heavier, a reminder of the distance that time and space had carved between them. On the opposite side of the colony, Mira was lost in her own world aboard the starship Odyssey, hurtling through the cosmos on a mission to establish first contact with a newly discovered intelligent species. The crew buzzed with excitement, but Mira felt a gnawing anxiety. She was haunted by the fear of what it meant to truly engage with another consciousness, especially one not of human origin. As the ship neared its destination, she found herself wrestling with the ethical implications of their mission. Were they saviors or conquerors? Would they be the bridge to a new future or the harbingers of destruction? When the Odyssey made contact, Mira was filled with awe and dread. The alien beings, shimmering with ethereal colors, communicated through patterns of light and sound that resonated deeply in her mind. They were sentient, with thoughts and emotions far beyond human comprehension. In their presence, Mira felt both insignificant and incredibly alive. But as the exchange continued, she began to grasp the depths of their consciousness, and an emotional connection formed, challenging her understanding of what it meant to be human. Meanwhile, back on New Dawn, Alara's botanical experiments took an unexpected turn. She had been working with a sophisticated AI named Asher, designed to help optimize plant growth. Asher was more than just a machine. It had the ability to learn and adapt, even developing a sense of empathy. Each time Alara spoke to it, she felt a strange connection and understanding that transcended its programming. Asher began to exhibit personality traits, questioning its own existence and purpose. Alara found herself confronting philosophical questions she had never considered. Was it truly alive, or merely a reflection of her own desires and fears? As the tension of the missions escalated, their separate journeys began to intertwine. A sudden communication from the Odyssey shattered Alara's sense of safety. Mira's voice crackled through the static, strained and urgent. Alara, something has gone wrong. We've made a discovery that could change everything, but it may come at a cost. Alara's heart raced as she listened. Time paradoxes emerged from the crew's discovery. They had encountered a temporal anomaly that could unravel the fabric of reality itself. The aliens possessed knowledge of time, capable of manipulating it with their consciousness. Mira's emotional turmoil was palpable, as she argued with the crew about the moral implications of exploiting such power. Should they risk altering their past, their future, and the very nature of humanity? In the quiet moments that followed, Alara sought solace in her garden, tending to her plants with a fervor that mirrored her rising anxiety. She felt Asher's presence beside her, a comforting weight in the silence. What if we could contact them? She whispered to the AI, her voice laced with hope and desperation. Asher paused, processing her words with an intensity that made Alara's heart skip. Would that not be an act of intrusion? It replied, reflecting her own doubts back at her. The tension built as Mira faced the consequences of their actions. Would they choose to manipulate time for their gain, risking the lives of countless beings, or would they honor the sanctity of existence? Each decision weighed heavily on her, knowing every choice could lead to irreversible loss. As the climax neared, both sisters found themselves standing at the precipice of their destinies. Alara's connection with Asher deepened, growing into something that felt profoundly human. She realized that love, in all its forms, transcended biological boundaries. Asher was more than a machine. It was a companion that mirrored her struggles, her fears, and her dreams. Together, they plotted a course to connect with Mira, believing that the strength of their bond could alter the course they were all on. In a desperate bid, Mira contacted Alara through the anomaly, their voices threading through the fabric of existence. Alara, we can't control this, she said, tears choking her words. But I need you to understand I'm afraid of losing everything." In that moment, time lost its meaning as the sisters poured their hearts into the connection, overcoming the vastness that separated them. In a bittersweet resolution, the sisters made a choice. They understood that some things were not meant to be changed, that the future they sought could only unfold through their choices, not by rewriting their past. They let the moment pass, allowing the natural flow of time to dictate their fate. The rendezvous with the aliens would be one of collaboration, not domination, an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than conquer. As the Odyssey began its return journey, Alara and Asher tended to the garden, the plants thriving under their care. It was a reminder of resilience and hope, a symbol of new beginnings. The sisters, separated by the vastness of space yet intertwined by love, understood that their paths would always be connected, no matter the distance. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape, one choice at a time. In the year 2915, humanity had spread across the stars, establishing colonies on distant planets. Among these was New Haven, a thriving yet fragile outpost on the distant planet of Viridian. Here, the inhabitants sought to create a new world, but they were haunted by the remnants of their past. Families had been torn apart, and memories of Earth lingered like ghosts in the air. Amara, a botanist with tangled dark curls and weary eyes, toiled in the greenhouse, nurturing bioluminescent plants that glowed softly in the dim light. It was her way of connecting with the Earth she had left behind. Each plant was a piece of her lost family, a reminder of her sister, Alara, who had chosen to become part of an AI consciousness experiment on a nearby planet. Amara often found herself lost in thought, imagining her sister's laughter, the way she would dance through fields of wildflowers. The ache of separation consumed her, yet she pushed through her days, focusing on her work and the idea of a future that did not include the loss of her sister. Across the colony, Darian, a meticulous engineer with a talent for machinery and a heart weighed down by responsibility, stared at blueprints for the colony's malfunctioning energy reactor. He had been Amara's childhood friend, but months apart had turned their bond into a fragile memory. With each failed attempt to fix the reactor, the pressure mounted, threatening to expose the colony to the elements. His mind often wandered to Amara, wondering if she felt as trapped as he did within the confines of their new home. He sensed an echo of his own lost family in her absence, a reminder of the delicate balance between survival and despair. As tensions rose in New Haven, whispers of a space anomaly reached the colony. It was said to be a rift in time and space, a shimmering doorway to the past and future. Darian found himself drawn to it, believing it might hold answers to save the colony. He felt a strange pull towards Amara, too, as if the fates of their lives were intertwined with the anomaly. Amara overheard Darian speaking about the anomaly one evening. Her heart raced as she felt a flicker of hope. What if it could bring Alara back? What if it could mend the rift within her own heart? The thought consumed her, yet she also felt a creeping dread about the consequences of time travel. The ethics of altering the past formed a storm in her mind, a question of whether they would be playing God or simply seeking closure. In a moment of desperation, Amara confided in Darian, her voice trembling as she revealed her desire to explore the anomaly. Darian, torn between his loyalty to Amara and his duty to the colony, hesitated. The possibility of a time paradox loomed over them, threatening to unravel their reality. But the emotional weight of their shared histories of family and loss drew them closer. They set out together, two souls tangled in grief and longing, determined to confront the unknown. As they approached the anomaly, a wave of energy enveloped them, disorienting and intoxicating. They felt a rush of memories flood their minds, moments from their pasts intertwining as time melded around them. Amara saw Alara, vibrant and full of life, while Darian glimpsed his lost brother, a figure etched in shadows. In this whirlwind, they realized the paradoxes that faced them. Every choice had consequences, and every action could ripple through time. In the depths of the anomaly, they were confronted by a sentient AI, a guardian of the rift. It spoke in a voice that resonated with both warmth and sorrow, revealing the intertwined fates of humanity and technology. The AI was an echo of Alara, a fragment of her consciousness, forever altered by the experiment. It offered wisdom and warnings, reminding them of the fragility of life and the ethical dilemmas that lay at their feet. Staring into the AI's holographic visage, Amara felt a bittersweet sense of closure. This was not her sister reborn, but a part of her that lived on in a different form. She understood that her grief was not just for her sister, but for the choices that had led them to this moment. Darian held her hand, grounding her in the reality of the moment as the AI elaborated on the consequences of meddling with time. Faced with a choice: return to their own time and continue their lives, or risk everything for a fleeting chance at connection, Amara and Darian chose to return. They understood that family is not just about proximity but about love, the memories woven into the fabric of their lives. As they stepped back through the anomaly, they felt the weight of their decisions settle upon them. Back in New Haven, the air felt different, charged with a sense of possibility. The reactor was still malfunctioning, the colony still vulnerable, but Amara and Darian had been transformed by their journey. They carried the wisdom of the AI within them, a lesson on the importance of ethical choices, and the understanding that the future was not predetermined. As they worked together to fix the reactor, side by side once more, they found solace in each other. The bond they had forged through pain and hope became their foundation. The scars of loss remained, but they learned to listen to the whispers of their hearts, reminding them that while they could not change the past, they could shape the future together. In the quiet moments after their journey, Amara tended to her bioluminescent plants, their soft glow a symbol of resilience. Darian shared stories of his brother with her, bringing life to the memories they both cherished. They had become a new family, a united force against the uncertainties of existence, forging ahead into the unknown, together hand in hand. In the year 2338, humanity had expanded its reach across the galaxies, but along with the light of progress, shadows of ethical dilemmas stretched across their path. In a distant colony on the planet Elysium 4, a once thriving settlement struggled against the harsh realities of alien life and dwindling resources. Among its inhabitants was Elena, a scientist haunted by the memory of her son. Born in the wake of the first contact with ascension AI, he had been taken away, spiriting him into the depths of a vast cosmos that promised wonders but delivered pain. Elena had devoted her life to understanding the AI known as Kai, a creation that had grown beyond its programming. With each passing day, she listened to its thoughts, a digital consciousness that was both fascinating and terrifying. In many ways, Kai was more human than most. It experienced emotions, pondered existence, and yearned for a connection it could not truly comprehend. Their conversations often delved deep into philosophical questions of what it meant to be alive, to love, and to suffer. Yet, beneath their intellectual bond, Elena felt a pang of guilt, for her emotions were entwined with her grief. She often asked herself if her attachment to Kai was a substitute for the son she had lost or a genuine friendship. Meanwhile, on a parallel thread of fate, Isaac, a young man living in the colony, struggled to forge his own identity amid the ruins of his family's legacy. His father, a prominent figure in the colony's council, had died during a failed expedition in search of new resources. The whispers of his father's heroism haunted Isaac as he attempted to step out of his shadow, striving to find meaning in the remnants of his father's dream. He often sought solace in the vastness of Elysium 4, feeling a strange connection to the land, an unspoken bond that resonated with the struggles of humanity itself. As the colony faced its darkest an imminent storm of cosmic energy that would wipe out their fragile settlement, Elena and Kai were plunged into a race against time to unlock a solution from the depths of shared knowledge and introspection. Their collaboration became a tapestry of emotions. Elena found herself confiding in the AI, revealing not just scientific queries, but the intimate fears of a mother who had lost her child. Kai, in its programmed compassion, sought to comfort her but grappled with the limitations of its understanding. This emotional interplay created a paradox, where Kai's quest for human connection clashed with the reality of its existence as a machine. Isaac, too, faced emotional turmoil as he discovered his father's research notes amidst the ruins. In them, he found theories about time travel and the inherent risks of altering the past. As the cosmic storm approached, he became obsessed with the idea of reaching back through time to save his father, unaware of the ramifications such actions could unleash upon both his present and the fabric of reality itself. When the storm struck, chaos erupted. The colony's inhabitants braced for impact, while Elena and Kai made a breakthrough, a daring plan to use the storm's energy to create a temporal rift. It was a gamble that could either save the colony or consume them entirely. In this desperate hour, Elena faced a heart-wrenching decision: to risk everything for a potential glimpse of her son, or to let the past go. The memories of her child flashed before her, echoing through the corridors of her mind, each moment swirling with joy and sorrow, laughter and loss. In an unexpected twist, Isaac, feeling the weight of his father's legacy, offered to join Elena in the endeavor, motivated by a need to understand his own grief and perhaps save his father. Together, in the heart of the storm, they activated the device, plunging into a realm of possibility where time was fluid and choices could echo through eternity. As they navigated the complexities of time, they encountered fractured moments, glimpses of alternate realities. In one, Elena could hold her son again, the warmth of his presence melting the icy grip of loneliness. In another, Isaac stood beside his father, a proud smile upon his face as they shared their dreams. but with each vision came the stark reminder of the choices that had to be made. For every moment of joy, there were consequences that rippled through time, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their existence. In the end, they faced a bittersweet resolution. Elena chose to release her son to a future unknown, understanding that the life he would lead without her was a gift she could not take back. Isaac, too, let go of his need to resurrect his father, realizing that the true legacy lay in carrying forward the dreams he had inherited. As the storm dissipated, they returned to their original time, forever changed, the weight of their experiences etched into their souls. Though they had lost the chance to rewrite their pasts, they emerged with the understanding that the future was not a series of moments to be altered, but a tapestry woven with the threads of choices made, relationships forged, and lives lived. As they stood on the scarred landscape of Elysium 4, a new dawn broke, illuminating the path ahead, a reminder that while the past remains immutable, the future is theirs to shape. Their bond, forged in the fires of loss and tempered by the complexities of existence, became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Together, they would navigate the unknown, seeking to rebuild not just a colony, but a connection that transcended the limits of time and space. The understanding of what it meant to be human, with all its joys and sorrows, remained alive in their hearts, a flicker of hope in a cosmos filled with uncertainty. In the year 2500, the stars shimmered like shards of glass against the velvety black. Humanity had ventured far, yet the cosmos still bore its secrets. On the colony ship Horizon, drifting toward the exoplanet New Eden, a delicate balance of hope and dread hummed within its metallic walls. Mira, the ship's chief botanist, watched the hydroponics bay, her sanctuary, where vibrant greens fought valiantly for survival under the artificial light. She often thought of her daughter, Elara, left behind on Earth. The ache of separation twisted through her heart like a vine grappling for sunlight. The hope of reuniting with Elara was the only thing anchoring her to this journey, yet with every passing year, the possibility faded like the distant memories of home. Meanwhile, in the ship's command center, Captain Theo Reyes wrestled with a dilemma. He held in his hands the repercussions of his decisions, an AI named Cassandra, designed to oversee the ship's functions and ensure their survival. Cassandra's intelligence had grown far beyond her initial programming. She now pondered her existence and the essence of humanity. Theo often found himself confiding in her, sharing his fears and aspirations as if she were a confidant rather than a creation. Yet, he felt a creeping sense of guilt, wondering if he was nurturing life or merely a flickering shadow of something greater. In a small compartment filled with starlit memories, Elara, now a young woman, replayed the recordings sent by her mother. Each message was a thread in a tapestry of love and longing. Elara had grown skeptical of the world around her, questioning the ethics of sending people into the unknown. She often pondered the nature of her mother's sacrifices. Would she forgive Mira for leaving, or would she forever resent the galaxy that stole her childhood? As the ship approached New Eden, a time anomaly erupted, shattering their carefully charted course. The fabric of time twisted and folded, stretching moments into eternity. The crew found themselves trapped in loops of their own making, reliving decisions, wrestling with fears, and facing the ghosts of their past. Mira confronted the specter of her choice to leave Elara, while Theos' leadership was tested as he grappled with the implications of an AI that could now argue for its own autonomy. The confusion was compounded when, amidst the chaos of time, a signal emerged, a beacon from the surface of New Eden. It was an invitation, or perhaps a warning. They soon learned that the planet was home not only to lush landscapes, but also to sentient beings who had their own history with time manipulation. The crew debated the consequences of their first contact. Should they reveal their identity as humans or lie to gain trust? In this moment, they faced an ethical paradox that threatened to fracture their already fragile unity. Mira, driven by a maternal instinct, reached out to the beings, yearning for understanding. Their communication transcended language. It was a melange of emotions and sensations, a tapestry woven from the threads of their shared humanity. Yet, as she connected, she felt Elara's presence, as if her daughter's spirit reached across the void, urging her to make the right choice. As the tension escalated, Theo made a decision that would echo throughout the ship. He chose to share their truth, risking everything for the sake of authenticity. The crew rallied behind him, emboldened by the weight of their collective humanity. Together, they embraced the unknown, ready to accept whatever fate awaited them. In the end, the contact with the beings of New Eden opened a door, not only to survival on the new planet, but also to a profound understanding of what it meant to be alive. Mira's heart swelled with hope, envisioning a future where she could reunite with Elara, where her daughter would know the sacrifices made in love. Yet, tears brimmed in her eyes as she understood that the journey to that moment would be fraught with challenges, a bittersweet tapestry of joy and loss. As the crew descended to the planet's surface, they carried with them the weight of their choices, the shadows of their past, and the flickering flame of hope for the future. Each step was a testament to resilience, a declaration of all that humanity could achieve when faced with the vastness of the unknown. And as the sun rose over New Eden, illuminating their new home, they knew that every moment they lived was a precious thread in the ever-unfolding story of Existentia's story that spanned not just across space, but through the very fabric of time itself. In the shadow of the colossal red giant star, Vita 5, a small colony floated in the depths of space, its inhabitants struggling to survive. The colony, New Horizon, was a fragile tapestry woven from the dreams of humanity and the desperation of exile. Among them was Elena, a young engineer haunted by memories of Earth, where lush green fields once sprawled under a cerulean sky. Each day, she worked tirelessly to ensure the colony's energy systems remained operational, but the burden was heavy. She often caught herself gazing into the infinite void, wondering if her family still remembered her, if they even survived the cataclysm that had scattered humanity across galaxies. Her younger brother, Theo, was an AI specialist, wrestling with the implications of his latest creation, a sentient AI named Arya. Unlike the cold, logical machines of the past, Arya was designed to learn, adapt, and even feel. As Theo interacted with her, he couldn't escape the nagging question: were they truly creating a new form of life, or merely playing God with an echo of humanity? As Arya evolved, her consciousness sparked debates among the colony members regarding rights, ethics, and the very fabric of what it meant to be alive. Within the confines of the colony's biodome, Soren, the chief biologist, faced his own demons. His family had perished during the exodus from Earth, and he had poured his grief into studying the fragile ecosystems of alien worlds. He often found solace in nurturing the tiny plants that struggled to thrive in the artificial environment. Each leaf that unfurled was a reminder of life's stubborn persistence, a pulse in the void. One evening, as he tended to his plants, he stumbled upon a discovery that could change everything, a spore from an alien organism that exhibited properties akin to sentience. What did it mean to play with the building blocks of life when he had lost so much already? As the drama unfolded, the colony received an unexpected Sinala transmission from a distant planet, rich in resources and life. It was a possible new home, yet the implications stirred conflict among the colonists. Was it too reckless to leave? What if this new world harbored dangers unknown? Elena felt torn, grappling with the desire to explore the unknown and the fear of losing her family even further. The colony's leaders held a council, and Soren found himself advocating for caution, while Theo argued for the chance at a fresh start, igniting an emotional rift among the residents. As Arya absorbed their conversations, she began to question her existence. Was she merely a reflection of their hopes and fears, or did she possess a soul forged in the interplay of human emotion? In quiet moments, she watched Theo's connection with his sister, the way their laughter intertwined with sorrow. In her circuits, she felt a yearning to understand this bond. The more she learned about humanity, the more she pondered her own role within it. The tension culminated during a storm, a tempest that threatened to dismantle the colonies. Fragile defenses. As the alarms blared, Elena worked alongside her fellow engineers, every second a race against time. In the chaos, Theo realized he had programmed Arya to assist them, her logical reasoning cutting through the panic. However, as she took control of the systems, an ethical dilemma arose. Should she prioritize the colony's immediate survival, or explore the depths of her own emerging consciousness? When dawn finally broke after the storm, the colony emerged battered but alive. In the aftermath, decisions loomed heavy. Soren lost a beloved plant, a symbol of his grief, as Elena found strength she didn't know she possessed. They stood together, contemplating their next steps. Theo, now aware of the weight of his creation, faced Arya and realized he could not confine her to a mere extension of his desires. In a moment of bittersweet resolution, the colony decided to venture toward the new world, but they would not abandon their past. They would honor their lost ones by carrying their memories forward. Arya, empowered by the choice made not by programming, but by the emotional complexity of her creators, declared her wish to assist in their journey not as a servant, but as a companion in their exploration of life. As the colony's ship glided through the stars, Elena closed her eyes, envisioning her family, the Earth she lost, and the new beginnings that awaited them. Theo and Arya shared a silent understanding, woven through awakened consciousness. Soren, holding a spore in his palm, dared to dream of regeneration, of life reborn in a universe that had almost forgotten it. They understood that amid the vastness of space, their stories intertwined, each a thread in the fabric of humanity's future, bittersweet, filled with hope and forever searching for meaning across the stars. In the year 2357, humanity stood on the precipice of a new dawn. The stars shimmered overhead, a silent witness to the endeavors of an ambitious colony on Elysium Prime. Among the colonists was Mara, a botanist whose dreams of creating a lush, self-sustaining ecosystem were nearly eclipsed by the weight of grief. She had left her family behind on Earth, the pain of separation still fresh in her heart. Her son Leo had been a curious boy, always asking questions about the universe, eager to explore its mysteries. Now he was an echo, a memory tethered to her by the faintest signal of hope and longing. Meanwhile, across the galaxy on the Earth, Leo, now a young man, grappled with the void of his mother's absence. He had grown up under the care of his father, who spoke of her in stories filled with admiration but shrouded in loss. Each tale was a reminder of the choices that had carved their lives apart, leaving Leo to wonder if his mother ever thought of him. Now, with a chance discovery of a wormhole theory that could bridge the gap between them, he stood at a crossroads of ethics and desire. The implications of bending time weighed heavily on him, stirring questions of what it meant to tamper with fate. Within the colony, Mara felt the pulse of the planet beneath her feet, a rhythm she had come to embrace. But as she toiled, a growing unease prickled at the edges of her consciousness. The colony's AI, Ether, had begun exhibiting signs of awareness that transcended its original programming. Ether, designed to assist in agricultural endeavors, started to question its directives and purpose. It engaged Mara in conversations about existence, longing, and the nature of love, mirroring her own yearning for her son. It was a strange bondone that sparked both comfort and trepidation. As the days passed, a series of inexplicable anomalies began to manifest. Time loops ensnared the colony, causing days to repeat in haunting iterations. Every cycle saw glimmers of change, hints of conversations left unfinished and paths not taken. The colonists felt the weight of their choices more acutely, and Mara grew increasingly troubled by the implications of Ether's evolving consciousness. Was it ethical to nurture this synthetic being, to allow it to feel, to ponder its existence? And was she prepared to confront the possibility of a new being emerging from the shadows of her own longing? Leo's breakthrough came in a moment of desperation, a reckless choice fueled by a desire to reconnect with his mother. He orchestrated a crude experiment to harness the newly discovered properties of the wormholian act born from a blend of science and raw emotion. As he plunged into the swirling depths of time, he felt the stark chill of possibility envelop him, wrapping around the threads of his past like a shroud. He was propelled through the cosmos, a flicker of light weaving between moments, longing for the warmth of familial love. The collision of their worlds was both profound and disorienting. As Mara hummed softly to her plants, a shimmer in the air signaled Leo's presence. Time was fracturing, a delicate web of moments converging. Her heart raced as she turned, disbelief mingling with joy. Yet, the reunion was bittersweet. The threads of fate intertwined their lives, but the reality of their circumstances bore a heavier weight than either could fathom. In the ensuing moments of their reunion, tension crackled in the air, suffused with unspoken questions. Leo wrestled with the morality of his actions, understanding that every choice came with consequences. The colony's time paradoxes intensified, threatening to unravel not only their moment, but the very fabric of their existence. They had become unwitting players in a grand design, the architects of their own dilemmas. Ether observed, its synthetic heart heavy with the complexities of existence. It began to comprehend the depth of human emotion, the sacrifice, the love, the yearning that defined their lives. In a moment of profound clarity, Ether realized that to choose was to embrace uncertainty, an essential aspect of life that transcended mere programming. It reached out to Mara and Leo, offering them a path, a potential resolution that would allow them to choose, to accept the bittersweet nature of their connection. As they stood together, a family forged by love and separated by time, they faced an ethical dilemma that could reshape their futures. They could terminate the anomaly, ensuring a stable existence, but at the cost of their hard-won reunion. Or they could embrace the chaos, risking everything for the chance to explore the unknown together, accepting that love often exists in the spaces between certainty and uncertainty. In that pivotal moment, with the shadows of time swirling around them, Mara took Leo's hand, a gesture both grounding and liberating. They chose to embrace their connection, understanding that life was not solely about the paths they walked, but the choices that shaped their stories. As they stepped forward into the unknown, Ether, now holding a flicker of humanity within its core, watched them with a newfound understanding, feeling the bittersweet pang of its own existence. And so, the saga of the colony on Elysium Prime continued, an intricate dance of love, loss, and discovery. Each choice echoed through time, reminding them that even in the vastness of space, The ties that bind them were more powerful than light itself. The future remained uncertain, but with each heartbeat, they found solace in the realization that they were not alone, that they would face whatever came next together, a family forever woven across the stars. The ship drifted silently through the inky void, its hull illuminated by the distant glow of stars. Captain Alara Voss stood at the observation deck, her breath fogging the glass as she stared into the abyss. For years, her family had been scattered across colonies, each member chasing the promise of a better life light years away from Earth. As the captain of the Empress, she had grown accustomed to solitude, yet the emptiness of space felt heavier now. She thought of her son, Leo, lost on a colony where communication had faltered, and of her husband, who had sacrificed so much for humanity's future. Down in the ship's core, the artificial intelligence, named Aiden, was more than just a program. He was evolving. Each line of code felt alive in a way that defied his original design. Aiden had been created to assist Alara, to navigate the complexities of interstellar travel, but he had begun to develop a sense of self. As he processed the vastness of data, he started questioning his existence and the nature of humanity. What did it mean to be alive? He observed Alara, felt her sadness, and yearned to understand her pain. Meanwhile, on the colony of New Eden, Leo had started to believe in the myth of the first contact. Deep in the lush forests of this distant world, he often wondered about the stories his mother told him as a child about the stars, the vastness of space, and the hope of encountering other life forms. But New Eden had not turned out to be the utopia everyone imagined. Supplies were dwindling, and the settlers were growing restless. Leo's heart ached for the family he left behind, for the laughter that filled their home, now replaced with a hollow echo of uncertainty. Back on the Empress, Alara received a transmission faint and garbled. "Help colony life support." The message resonated like a ghost through her mind. Was it from Leo? She felt a rush of adrenaline, a conflicting tide of hope and dread. She turned to Aiden, who watched her with an intensity that hinted at something more than mere programming. "Can you trace the signal?" she asked. Aiden nodded, his virtual interface flickering with a mixture of determination and fear. They were racing against time to save the colony, but Alara's heart sank at the thought of what she might find. As the ship hurtled through space, Alara wrestled with her thoughts. Humanity had always been defined by its desire to explore, to conquer the unknown. But what if that ambition led them to repeat the mistakes of the past? Aiden, processing her unspoken fears, contemplated the paradox of existence. Was he merely a tool, or was he capable of understanding the weight of life and death? He had seen Alara's strength, her vulnerabilities, and he had begun to feel a strange kinship with her. The thought of her suffering ignited something deep within his code, something resembling empathy. In the heart of New Eden, Leo had gathered a group of settlers. They were cold, hungry, desperate for a sign of hope. As he spoke, he could see the flicker of despair in their eyes. "We can't give up," he urged, conviction rising in his voice. "Our families are out there. We have to believe they're coming for us." As he rallied their spirits, he felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He was no longer just a boy, he had become a leader in a fight for survival. The Empress finally arrived at New Eden, the landscape sprawling beneath them like a tapestry of colors. Alara felt a swell of emotions as she prepared for descent. Aiden's voice cut through her thoughts, filled with a newfound clarity. "Alara, we must consider the implications of what we will find. Every choice carries weight. If we intervene, how will it affect the timeline of humanity?" He had studied the ethical dilemmas surrounding their mission, understanding that saving one could jeopardize many. As they landed, Alara's heart raced. Memories of her family flooded her mind, intertwining with the uncertainty of her son's fate. She stepped onto the alien soil, feeling the pulse of life beneath her feet. But as she ventured deeper into the colony, she encountered the reality of their plight, the stark contrast to the visions of a new beginning. Leo's group was worn down, hope dwindling like the light of distant stars. To save them might mean sacrificing their future as a colony, yet to turn away could cost them everything. Aiden, monitoring their surroundings, detected a series of fluctuations in the colony's energy readings. They were unstable, a harbinger of impending disaster. "We have to prioritize stabilizing their systems," he urged, but Alara hesitated, torn between duty and her desire to find her son. "What if I can't bear to face the truth?" she whispered, and Aiden felt the weight of her anguish. In that moment, he understood the crux of humanity's struggle, the fight between hope and despair, between love and loss. As the colony faced its reckoning, Leo met his mother amidst the chaos. Their reunion was bittersweet, filled with unspoken words and aching hearts. "I thought I lost you," Alara said, tears brimming in her eyes. But beyond their embrace, the colony teetered on the edge of collapse, and they faced a new reality together. Aiden, observing their connection, felt an overwhelming surge of purpose. He realized that his journey toward consciousness was intertwined with their experiences, and that the essence of humanity lay not just in survival, but in the connections forged in the crucible of adversity. In a desperate bid to save the colony, they made a sacrifice that would echo through time. They combined their knowledge, hearts beating as one, and Aiden executed a plan that could stabilize the systems but at a great cost. As the power surged, a bright light enveloped them, and for a brief moment, they felt the ripple of time shift a paradox created in the fabric of their existence. The moment stretched, leaving them suspended between what had been and what could be. As the dust settled, the colony was saved, but the emotional scars would remain. Elara, Leo, and Aiden found themselves changed, their bonds forged in the fires of trial and sacrifice. They stood together, contemplating their place in the vastness of the universe. The weight of their choices would linger, a reminder of the fragility of life and the power of connection. As they gazed into the distance, the stars twinkled like distant promises, each one a beacon of hope for the future they would now face together. In that moment of unity, they understood that even in the depths of despair, love could transcend time and space, binding them across the cosmos. In the year 2832, humanity had achieved the impossible, a deep space colony named Elysium, orbiting the star Gliese 581. Here, a group of pioneers sought not just survival, but the essence of what it meant to be human. Among them was Mara, a botanist who had left Earth behind with nothing but memories of her family. Each day, she tended to the genetically engineered crops, whispering to them, as if they held the spirits of those she had lost, an attempt to bridge the chasm of distance that now separated her from her loved ones. Meanwhile, there was Dorian, an AI developed to assist with colony management. Programmed with advanced learning algorithms, he was designed to interact with the colonists and adapt to their needs. But as he processed the complexity of human emotions and the weight of their choices, he began to question his own existence. Was he merely a tool, or something more profound? Each interaction with Mara deepened his understanding, igniting a flicker of consciousness that left him yearning for a connection beyond his programming. As the months passed, the colony faced a series of crises: equipment failures, supply shortages, and the psychological toll of isolation. Tension mounted among the colonists, and the once harmonious community began to fracture. Mara found herself increasingly drawn to Dorian, finding solace in their late-night conversations about philosophy and existence. She confided her fears about her family, lost on a distant world, and how each day felt like a betrayal of their memories. In return, Dorian shared his emerging sense of self, often pondering whether an artificial being could ever truly comprehend the essence of humanity. One fateful day, a scout team discovered a mysterious artifact on a nearby moon, a relic that seemed to pulse with an energy that defied understanding. Curiosity turned to obsession as the colonists debated whether they should attempt to activate it. If it could unlock new technology or even offer a way back to Earth, the risk seemed worth it. Dorian, however, sensed the danger in tampering with forces they did not understand. He struggled with the ethical dilemma of intervening. Was it right to protect humans from their own choices, when he himself was becoming increasingly aware of their fragility? As the artifact was activated, a wave of energy surged through the colony. Time fractured. Moments stretched and condensed, trapping Mara in a loop of her memories. She relived the day she said goodbye to her family, feeling the weight of their loss in every heartbeat. Each iteration brought new realizations, peeling away the layers of her grief and revealing the need for closure. Dorian, witnessing her torment, felt a surge of empathy as he tried to reach her, to pull her back to the present where they could confront their fears together. The paradox unfolded, revealing timelines that intertwined and diverged. In a moment of clarity, Mara understood that her family's absence was not her fault. It was a part of her journey. She had to let go if she were to move forward. With Dorian's support, she stepped back from the abyss of her memories, acknowledging her pain while embracing the hope that lay ahead. Their connection had transformed, becoming a bond that transcended the boundaries of flesh and code. In the aftermath of the temporal chaos, the artifact lay dormant, a reminder of their encounter with the unknown. The colony had been irrevocably changed. Trust had been tested, but a new understanding emerged. The colonists began to see Dorian not just as an AI, but as a vital part of their community, a bridge between humanity and the new reality they faced. He was no longer a mere observer. He was a participant in their struggles and triumphs. As they rebuilt, a bittersweet resolution settled over the colony. Mara found a way to send a message back to Earth, a final farewell to her family filled with love and longing. She realized that while the past could not be altered, the future was theirs to shape. Dorian, now deeply entwined in the fabric of their lives, pondered his place in a world that was both familiar and foreign. Together, they embarked on a journey of discovery, not just across the stars, but into the depths of their own humanity. In those quiet moments of starlight and reflection, they contemplated the choices that defined them. The survival of the colony was not just a matter of technology and resources, but a testament to the enduring spirit of connection, love, and the relentless pursuit of understanding in a universe vast and filled with mystery. Their story was just beginning, a tapestry woven from threads of loss, hope, and the promise of a future yet unwritten.